Hey, folks.
How you doing? Good day, good evening, whatever the case may be.
Preferably, good night. How we doing today?
You know, doing okay. Well, you forgot the whole thing first.
The whole thing.
Welcome to Nature's Darkest.
Whoa!
This is your host, Kevin.
I'm Kain.
And this
episode was recorded on Sunday the 15th.
Yes. So how was your... before we start anything, I was supposed to do a shout out.
All right.
Hi, Boo. Hi, Brandy. Hope you're listening. Hope you like the episode. Love ya.
All right.
All right. So, anyways, let's get back to Friday the 13th. How was your Friday the 13th?
Oh, what did we do on Friday?
Nothing.
No. Then it was excellent.
I played World of Warcraft and pawned a bunch of Alliance.
I almost saw some not PG vulgarity bursting out there.
Yeah. Well, I watched myself, but it was yummy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that your Friday the 13th was a peaceful one, and if you're listening to this, congratulations. Jason Voorhees missed you this year.
For now. There's usually like 2 or 3 Friday the 13th in a single year.
Oh.
We still got time for one. I think there's usually one before and one after October.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th on October.
Does it happen in October? I don't remember it ever happening in October.
I don't know. Hey, people out there who listen to the podcast.
Check your calendars and leave it in the comments, because we're lazy.
Okay. Well, we were wanting to do a special to be announced subject for this year, this evening.
This year? This is the last podcast of 2018.
Yeah. No, it's not, folks. I promise.
We'll see you next Monday. Don't worry.
So, to be announced. Well,
now it's announced.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. We're gonna play a little game today, folks. Doesn't that sound exciting? I've curated some odd, mysterious sounds from around the internet, and I'm gonna play them for the big man, and we're gonna see if he can correctly determine the supposed sources of these mysterious sounds.
Okay, so if I get this right, I want a ding, 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 and an audience clapping.
That's gonna be hard to find. You'll get me going, something like that. I'll make some noise.
Okay, all right. So, tell them more about. What else are we going to be diving into?
Well, we'll get to that when we cover the different sounds, because they all come from different interesting sources, and we're going to spend a little time talking about each and every one of them.
Okay, so this is not like true paranormal. This is just real spooky sounds.
So, it covers the spectrum here. It starts out normal, fairly scientific, and it slowly degrades into the creepier and creepier stuff.
Well, sounds like my hometown. Let's do it.
All right. So, folks, let's why don't we play the game now?
I was conceived on the creepy side.
All right, we're starting the game now. This is our first audio file.
All right, let me have it here. All right.
that was your first sound. What are your thoughts?
Well, at first it sounds something like astral, something in the outer spacey type thing. Like maybe a planet or something. But then the rings kind of threw me off a little bit. It sounded more man-made.
More man-made. Well, your first intuition was correct. What you are hearing are the sounds of Pluto.
Pluto? Seriously?
Pluto.
Pluto, you're still a planet to me, man!
Oof. Oof. So for those of you who don't know, sound does not travel in space. But pretty much any other kind of frequency can.
Okay, so why? It's because space is a vacuum, correct?
Yeah.
I mean there's no...
Yeah.
There's nowhere for sound to...
Sound is simply the compression of air. There's no air in space, there's no compression. Any other kind of wave radiation does propagate through space because they are generated by their own particles.
Okay.
And what we're doing is we're measuring these particles and then taking the frequencies that we're getting and simply shifting them to an audible range. And that's what you're hearing is pretty much...
So that's Pluto.
That's pretty much the radiation of Pluto in an audible form.
It radiates cold.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like a cold and scary place.
Alone.
What's really strange is anytime you hear a planet, the sound that you get from these experiments often give you the vibe of that planet, what it would be like to be there.
With Pluto making and changing its tone, it almost makes like some form like the... This is gonna go like really pseudoscience here, but
all right.
But it sounds like the planet was initially changing the frequency. Like some people think that Earth itself is alive.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I really believe in that, but if ghost exists and everything else that I've seen with me two beady eyes, why not?
We live for the pseudoscience, man.
Okay, so how'd I do?
Yeah. Should I give you a point system? I mean, that was close. You didn't identify it as Pluto, but you did identify it as a planet. So I'm going to give you a half a point.
Oh, okay.
All right. We're going to move on to
half a point. I'll take it.
We're going to move on to our next sound.
Ooh, yummy.
All right.
Okay. I know what this is.
Do you now?
Well, I do, but I don't. It was the very first human recording ever produced.
Yes. What you heard was actually two separate recordings recorded on a device called a phonograph. English.
You're like a phonograph?
Yeah, but a phonograph.
Phonograph. Okay, got it.
Phantograph.
Okay.
It was similar to the phonograph, except it carved the audio into a roll of wax.
Oh.
So that would explain the audible degradation. Which is what makes it sound so spooky. It's actually a pretty cool piece of historical, archival, you know?
Yeah. And do you remember when this was originally recorded?
This was developed, I believe, in the mid-19th century, so the 1800s.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. The first recording that you heard, the two tones, were him using a tuning fork. And these survived much better than the sound of him singing, which has since been restored, and using advanced restoration techniques, mostly on the computer, we have actually been able to determine what it more closely sounded like when it was first recorded, and it didn't sound as spooky.
So here's the thing. Here's a nice little thought. Because as humans, we're here temporarily.
Okay.
Biologically, we're here just
Right.
in a flash.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens to the internet? What happens to people listening to this recording? Will someone back this recording up?
I mean,
And
considering
log
we're
it?
only getting 30 views, probably not.
That is someone's life mission. If you hear this transmission, record this.
Save us. So, I could probably explain why this sounds so creepy.
Okay, go for it.
What we're experiencing is something called the Uncanny Valley. Your brain is really good at determining what's a human and what's not a human.
Because I'm a human.
Because, yeah, you're human. That's why we experience pareidolia. That's why we see faces on planets where faces don't belong. Okay. All right.
We will save that for the next episode.
Okay, it's been determined. With or without
Or
my
a
consent.
future episode. A future episode.
Piling on the research, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
But anyways, the Uncanny Valley is so your brain is really good at determining what's a human and what's not a human. But there's a sort of valley in there, the Uncanny Valley, where your brain is having a hard time deciding whether or not what it hears or what it sees is human. That's why to a lot of people robots or masks are scary, because part of their brain is saying, yes, this is human, and another part of their brain is saying, whoa, hey, not quite. Let's not trust this thing.
Like clowns.
Like clowns, yeah. And so this recording is a perfect example of the Uncanny Valley.
Okay.
It's just spooky because of the degradation, and it plays with our brains. Some people find this really cool. Other people find it really spooky and don't want to listen to it.
You know, I find it both, but I'm really intrigued about this. I mean, what else could there be out there that has these recordings at that time?
Right.
I mean, there could be a whole archive of wisdom from these people that could have passed down to the future generations, like in a time capsule somewhere.
Ooh, maybe. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be something. Because like some people would put something like audio cassette tapes.
Yeah, except,
Yeah.
The 19th century version of this.
Yeah, basically. But no, that's really interesting, and I would like to hear more of stuff like that eventually.
Oh, we can do that. And once we're done here, it's also really fun to look at photographs from when the camera was first developed.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually usually cityscapes. Portraits didn't come along because the shutter speed was so slow that humans could not sit down. The first person that was ever photographed was a person sitting down to get their shoes signed. And they managed to sit so still that they were the only person to appear in the photograph of the streets of, I think, was it Paris?
I don't know.
I think it was Paris. Anyways, that's enough about history. Let's get a little creepier with our timeline.
So what's my score on that last one?
Do
I get the full
yeah,
point?
you got the full points. You're
Yeah!
sitting at 1.5.
Yay! Yay! I smart. All right, hit me up with the next one.
So, we're going through history, right?
Yes.
We covered the fun history. Now let's cover the creepy history.
I'm a fat kid in the creepy store. And I'm ready to eat.
All right, let's go. right, so that was a little spookier. What did you just listen to?
It was a number station.
A number station. What's a number station?
All right, a number station is a radio broadcast on shortwave or FM. It was broadcast by certain type of countries to let their spies know what's going on, their missions or status and stuff like that.
Well, that's a
Kinda
theory.
like Cold War or stuff like that.
It is definitely a relic of the Cold War. Some of them are still operating. You can still find them with a powerful enough radio, but most of them died with the Cold War. Excuse me, what are you doing on your phone in the middle of this podcast?
I was turning it off.
You're supposed to do that beforehand.
Oops. So anyways, go ahead.
Anyways, a number station is a station that has some kind of identifying tone, and then it relays a pattern of numbers over and over. And we're not really sure why they operate. We've only managed to decode one of them in the history of our studies of number stations, and it came from a Cuban number station. And that's because we captured 5 Cuban spies who had the number pad on them. A number pad is like a one-time pad that you use to write down the numbers that you hear and then decode it.
Maybe it was like information dealing with the local winning lottery or something.
Maybe. Just straight up broadcasting lottery numbers a week early. And just nobody listened. In the case of this one, this number station is called Gongs and Chimes. And it started operating once East and West Germany was split. And it continued to operate until the end of the Cold War when the Soviet Union crumbled in 1991. My personal theory on this is that the tones are intentionally creepy to dissuade just casual shortwave listeners from listening in. That's my personal theory.
That's really interesting.
Why don't we listen to a number chameleon? Alright, let's listen to another number station. And let's see if you can figure out where it's from, when it operated. Just tell us anything else you figure out.
Are you talking to me or the audience?
You!
Okay.
You!
Alright, us old folks have to have all the details.
Alright.
Alright, let's do this.
So, Mr. Shortwave Master, what can you tell us about what we just heard?
Well, again, it was a number station signal.
Right.
My guess would be something from Russia.
From Russia? Well, what you just heard is called the Swedish Rhapsody. Now, it's not from Sweden. This particular station is probably the most well-known number station out there. It began operation at some point in the 1970s. We're not really sure when. It just kind of showed up. It's believed to either be from East Germany or Poland. Yeah.
I was a little off.
This one ceased operations at the same time as the Gongs and Chimes during the fall of communism.
Maybe some resilience of the communism. Communists were still trying to...
It was definitely a communist thing. There are American number stations, though.
Really?
Yes. There is one that we know the Air Force uses.
Today?
Today. There was one called Yosemite Sam that repeatedly played a clip of Yosemite Sam yelling unintelligible nonsense, right? And it was believed to be a communications test because it only aired once. and no numbers were sent. Another one called the Backwards Music Station was believed to be used by the Navy.
Really?
And there's a whole wide range of theories on this one, ranging from digital data transfer to noises used to study whales. And your phone is going off. I'm going to go off on you. Why are you looking at... What ad are you looking at? Show me that ad. Show me that ad. It's off. It's off. He turned the blasted machine off. He is worse than I am.
I like those coloring pages, man.
He's not even kidding. He sits there all day and just colors in little pages on his phone. I'm like, Dad, I need something. And he's just sitting there like, because if he's busy doing something on his phone, you're not getting his attention. You have to wait until he's done.
Shiny. So anyway, back to number stations.
Back to number stations. Most of them were operated by communist countries, usually the USSR or satellite nations. Some are still in use today. They're most commonly found in the Oriental countries, China, Japan. Possibly North Korea.
Wonder what those people are trying to say.
Probably nothing good about us.
Probably nothing good at all.
So, that should do it for number stations, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Let's
get to the next sound. This sound, we're getting pretty recent in history here. This sound was recorded in 2005. And this is a completely natural sound.
Okay, lay it on me. I want to hear this one.
All right. So, that was a little bit of a departure. Can you guess what it was?
Sounded relaxing to me.
I doubt it would be relaxing if you were there, friend.
Lots of wind. I would say probably cyclone, tornado, or hurricane.
I'll give you the point.
Okay, awesome.
What you're listening to is footage that was captured in 2005 during Hurricane Ike.
Oh.
This was recorded by a Weather Channel journalist who decided to stay in a hotel rather than evacuate.
Brave man, holy cow. Now, Ike was one of the big ones, wasn't he? Like
Yes.
Sandy and
Yes.
Irma? Mm-hmm. You know, I when I get old enough, I'm going to eventually move down to Florida.
Right.
And everyone's like, what about the hurricanes? What about the hurricanes? I'm like, bring them on.
Apparently, the noise you just heard is actually pretty common for more powerful hurricanes.
Really?
Yeah. That's just what hurricanes sound like.
That would put me to sleep.
Not me. Nuh-uh. I fear and respect the hurricanes.
I could make a very bad comment about that, but I'm not.
Please don't.
The hurricanes, man. Those are the true strength of the earth or Mother Nature when
You're sounding like a shroom head right now. You sound high.
I don't know. But anyways, go ahead. Next one.
All right. We're going to go back into history again.
So I did get
Yeah,
that point.
you're at 2.5.
Yay!
So we're going to go back into history for a bit of a chilling artifact.
Ooh.
All right, that's enough out of you. I like when your laugh shows up as little clicks in the little waveform.
Let's do it. I can't wait. Let's do it.
All right. All right. Any guesses as to what you just heard?
Okay, so your only clue was an artifact.
Yes. Do you want another hint?
Sure.
This is an artifact that's often associated with some of humanity's darker moments.
Like a sacrificial blowhorn.
I'll give you the point.
Seriously?
Yeah. What you're listening to was an Aztec death whistle.
Oh, really?
Yes, they either sounded like that,
Gosh.
or they sounded eerily close to a female screaming, like a woman screams.
Those Aztecs people just didn't screw around, did they?
They blew this whistle before sacrificing someone, and was often associated with other death-related ceremonies. And these things are creepy.
Oh my gosh.
You can get a replica for pretty cheap.
Good to know for Halloween. A sacrificial blowhorn.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. You're at what, 3.5 points?
Woohoo.
Imagine that was the last sound you heard before you died. Like sacrificing in front of a crowd of 1,000.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, sir, I don't like it. My gosh, that's just that will give people nightmares.
Oh, we're starting to enter nightmare territory.
Okay, well, let's see what's next.
Be forewarned. I actually kind of gave away the next sound. It kind of sounds like that. What you're listening to next is... how do I put this without giving too much away? I didn't think about giving hints until now, so I didn't come up with any hints. You can berate me in the comments if you so choose. So this one was intentionally designed to scare people, but it did it just a little too well.
Okay.
And it was never used as widespread. It was as widespread as it was intended to be used. So this is another rare artifact, but not in the same sense as the last one. It's more of a footnote in U.S. history.
U.S. history. All right.
Let's do it.
Bring it on. Okay, I know exactly what that was.
Okay.
Back in the Vietnam War,
Okay.
they had these special op people in helicopters, and they would play that sound to freak out the Vietnamese because they're so superstitious about their dead. And basically, it was there to like freak them out so they could like retreat in the woods and
Convince them to go home
Yeah.
because this war they were fighting was not spiritually rewarding.
Yes.
Unfortunately, this didn't get used because as soon as it was produced to be put into the war, I think the war came to an end.
I thought they used this.
They could have used it sparingly, but it wasn't like a common tactic.
You know, speaking about the Vietnam War, you know, we have this. Speaking of sounds, okay, this is kind of a backup story of mine. My friend Mick Ellenwood, when he and I were kids, he went down to one of the old pawn shops down here in Sheridan.
All right.
And he bought a cassette tape. And, you know, we were going to record on it, you know, do what, you know, what teenagers do during the late 80s and early 90s. You know, we were just going to have fun.
Oh, friend, those are dark times.
But anyways, when we put that tape in and we started listening to it, it was an actual recording from the Vietnam War. It was about these guys sitting in a foxhole, and one was you know, they were joking and having a good time. And one was making an impression of a pterodactyl, and he was going, whack, 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 and all of a sudden, you hear them you hear some guy go, shh, and then they got all quiet, and then you hear this tink, 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 and then you hear this very slight pop. And then you hear them start screaming and hollering, and then you start hearing gunfire, and they were chased out of the foxhole with a grenade, and...
Where's this tape now?
Last time I knew it, Mick Ellenwood had it, and it was horrendous because you could hear the guys get hit and scream and dying, and you get to hear, you know, the Vietnamese people get hit, and it was just horrendous. It's something that I'm gonna have to live with. Because, you know, we were hearing, I mean, we were like 12, 13, 14,
Ooh.
You know, and, you know, we were, you know, we weren't expecting this tape to show up here. We know nothing of who owned the tape or who brought the tape over to the old used old store, but yeah, that is one of nature's darkest.
Teaches you a lesson about buying random
used
cassette
tapes. Yeah, because you just never know. You don't know what's on those things. It's like I have like hundreds of thousands of cassette tapes sitting in a box, and I don't know if they're old our old freeze frame that my friends and we used to make these auto recordings, and we called them freeze frame.
It's kind of like a proto podcast.
But there are some like investigation tapes, and they're all mixed up, and you just don't know what you're gonna find.
It sounds like that one Vietnam tape you found possibly could be a one-of-a-kind piece.
It could have been. And I don't know where the tape is now.
Well, you could ask your friend of yours. I don't remember his name.
Hey, Mick, if you're listening to this, let me know.
Hit him up on the Facebook. See what he did with the tape.
Yeah, I'll let him listen to this and let him find out. But yeah, we were caught off guard on that. It was like, whoa. That was some scary stuff. So.
Well, on that note.
Sorry. I just that whole segment just kind of brought that up, you know.
Wow. Okay. So
I just got goosebumps.
The goosebumps don't end here, friend.
Okay, all right. What's next?
It's getting worse. The hint I could give you is this was more recent than the Vietnam War.
Okay.
We're not sure if this is a recreation or the original tape that was recorded.
Oh.
Like you, someone was up late at night, a 15-year-old boy, and he was recording some classical music off of his boombox. When something interesting came up.
Okay. All right, let's do it. What in the Sam macaroni and cheese was that?
Oh, I don't know. You tell me.
Um,
You tell me.
The only thing I could get out of that, other than the really spookiness, it had to have been like a signal hijack or something.
It was a signal hijack.
But I don't know. I mean, a warning sound and then that whispering. Is this legit? Are you sure this is legit?
We don't know if this is a recreation or what originally. This is the real audio, but this did actually take place. This was a real radio hijacking. What you didn't get to hear was about 5 minutes into the hijack.
Okay.
This woman started reading off obituaries.
What?
Yeah, this was mostly people that died during the 1980s. It included some notable people, like some of the people that worked on the Manhattan Project.
Okay.
This
all right.
hijack continued for about 10 minutes before the signal was reclaimed. I think. Could have been longer.
Well, the FCC would I don't think so.
But this continued for quite a while.
This had to have been some type of stupid stunt thing.
I mean, it very well could have been. Or some, like, cult initiation or something.
Cult? Cult?
I don't know. It just popped in there. There's no validity to that statement, folks.
You know, I can. When did this happen? Do you know?
1995.
1995. Well, it is possible for a signal to be hijacked.
Yes.
Even a television signal.
Yeah, see Max Headroom, which I didn't include because he'd already know what that is.
Yeah. I actually saw that. I actually saw the news clips.
Oh, I was about to say, wait, no, you didn't see that. That was local to Chicago.
It was on a news clip. It was on it was.
Yeah, of course it wound up on the news.
Yeah, we watched it on a Denver channel back in 1984 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was spooky. Things were much spookier back then.
I'd argue things are spookier now. You have more access to this kind of information, stuff that could have blown over you. You get to confront now.
Do you remember that thing that's been like the Wyoming incident or something like that, where
that
it was
is
a signal that never happened?
Right. That's a creepypasta.
Yeah, that never happened. We're here from Wyoming. I was alive at that time. It never happened.
No.
But there have been some really weird stuff on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, really weird. But no, that signal, I would poo myself
if you heard that.
If I heard that, trying to relax in bed at night.
Yeah, it's pretty calming music. Although the music is kind of distorted from the tape, so it does have that shrill tone to it.
Yeah. But I listen to NPR a lot.
Right.
And there's a whole bunch of classical music though. But when the signal gets hijacked and something like that gets broadcasted, it's like...
Yeah. I gotta put this out here real quick. I've heard this, possibly, more than 100 times. I've used it in a song I wrote. I've listened to it about 4 times just compiling it for this episode, and I'm still getting chills running up my back.
But the person was saying obituaries?
Yeah, obituaries. Just,
times.
names, dates, and was there causes of death? I don't think so. I think it was just names and dates.
It depends on the obituary.
Yeah, just names and dates.
Because, all right, here's my background for obituaries.
All right.
All right, I used to be an assistant mortician when I was back in the day. A little older than Kain at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to, work in the office and other sections. And this lady named Judy, I don't even know if she's even alive still. So, but anyways, she would pull me in and ask me, while she was typing obituaries of people that we serviced.
Mm-hmm.
And she would ask my opinion if it sounded, official enough. But yeah, so I got some dark stories about that. I'm going to have to share some of those one of these days.
I think this next entry might eke some of them out.
Okay. All right. So how did I do?
You did it. It was a radio hijacking. That's another point. What are you at? 4.5?
4.5.
4.5.
Yay. All right.
All right, that was too much. Let's listen to this next one. So that was a garbled mess.
That was garble. Sounded like someone got their signal or phone lines crossed with something else.
You think so?
That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, you're onto something with the phone. I'll give you that hint. You still got half a point on the table.
No, I'm gonna have to deal with that because that's
That's all you got?
Yeah, that's all I got. All right, so what is it?
This is allegedly a voicemail somebody received probably like at about 4 in the morning.
Okay.
So, that tells you a lot right there. But what he later found out when he looked at the number, depending on who you ask, it was either A, a disconnected number, or
what?
Or B, this is the creepier one, the number belonged to a funeral home in Hawaii.
Oh, God.
It could have very well been both.
Oh, my
God.
gosh.
A funeral home that went out of business. And so the number was no longer in service. Some say you can hear the phrase lose control repeated over and over in that, but we can't tell anything of what that says.
Yeah.
It sounded like a mess. Do you have any spooky funeral home experiences?
Where do I begin?
Begin with the biggest one. Let's hear the spookiest.
Okay, me and this guy Randy. We were preparing a burial.
Right.
The family just left. And it was me and this guy Randy. And it was getting nighttime. And our backhoe wasn't really working, so we had to fill the hole manually.
Ooh.
Which took a while.
I'd imagine.
So, but on how caskets are, they're lowered into the ground.
Right.
Then a device called a casket vault is lowered on top of it. Well, the one that we used that particular night was made out of fiberglass.
Okay.
And the gloves that I wore were sticking to the fiberglass. So I ended up taking my gloves and setting them down in the grave. And then we put the casket vault down on them. Then we filled the hole. Well, we got so in tune with what we needed to get done, and we wanted.
You forgot your gloves?
And the gloves were buried under the casket vault with the casket.
Okay.
In this 6-foot hole.
Right.
Okay. Here's a trivia question. We're dealing about holes. Do you know why graves are 6 feet deep?
Exactly 6 feet?
Give and take. They're ranged from 3 feet to 6 feet.
It has something to do with vampires originally, didn't it? You're trying to keep the dead where they belong?
Yeah, well, when a body decomposes, it's a big wet mess.
Right.
So it kind of stinks, and
Yeah, you don't want that stink.
it festers and all of that. Well,
Beautiful.
Even when the body is embalmed, the process of it decomposing is much slower, but it's still a messy mess. It's disgusting. So anyways, that's why they have it as deep. So after, when we were both tired and exhausted, because we filled the 6-foot hole by ourselves with shovels, because again, the backhoe didn't work. We were pretty damn tired.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just chit-chatting, and then he looked at my gloves, because I had these gray gloves, right? Mm-hmm. And, I was...
Are these the gloves that ended up in the grave?
Yes. They were my favorite gray gloves, because I was an undertaker.
Right.
Okay, so I got gray gloves. So Randy kind of looks at me after when we... Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that was...
one of the kids moved something, and the dog is freaking out.
What the hell was that?
One of the kids are up, probably using the bathroom.
Okay, so anyways, getting back to the story.
Jumpy much?
Yes, because listen to this, because this. All right, so Randy looks over and he's like, "Hey Kev, where's your gloves, man?" And then I realized, oh shit, sorry.
It's PG-13.
I left him with the casket, and he went, "Oh, well, the F word was dropped." And
Phooey.
yeah, so we were too tired and exhausted, and we had to go back to the shop to get the base on which the headstone was going to rest. Mm-hmm. We had to go back and get the little temporary one anyways. Okay, so the next day, it was thundering and lightning, and it was raining and all this.
Of course, dark and stormy night.
Stormy day. This is the day after.
Okay.
All right, so I went to the grave that we buried by hand, and so I placed the tombstone at the end.
With the temporary one.
With the temporary one.
The little metal rod
and
one.
And by this time, it completely downpoured.
Right.
And the dirt was starting to settle. And when dirt settles, it kind of turns into mud and washes in the cracks and stuff like that. Guess what was on top of the dirt?
Your gloves washed up.
Yes. Yes, the gloves had washed up.
Well, I don't think that's paranormal, but it's certainly interesting.
It had to come from underneath a fiberglass casket vault that surrounded the casket. And had to come through all of that. That was something.
There's a kid that just walked into the kitchen, and we told him to go, and now he's fiddling around with doors. If you can hear that in the background, we're not spooked. We're just infested with youngums.
But yeah, that's one of my stories about one of many stories.
So shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah, please.
I don't think you're gonna like this one much either.
Oh, all right. Let's do it.
I'm
not used to this anymore.
From what I can tell, you suffer from something called thalassophobia.
What's thalassophobia?
I'll explain after you hear this sound.
Get out of the ocean! Get out of the ocean! Get out of the ocean!
It's the ocean.
Oh gosh.
Thalassophobia is the fear of the ocean.
Oh god, no. No. No.
What can you tell me?
What the hell was that?
It's a sound known as Julia.
It was Cthulhu or Godzilla. I don't know. I that was.
You should have seen his face. I wish this was a video media.
Please tell me that was fake. Please.
The conclusive answer is we don't know. We don't know what that is. Some people say an ice quake. Some people say an underwater.
Where was it recorded?
Oh, let me look. I got this. Keep them entertained. Say happy thoughts.
Get out of the ocean. I'm really nervous about this. That was. That had to have been Cthulhu or something.
Cthulhu, huh?
I'm trying to keep this, like, for me not soiling myself for this, but please say Pacific Ocean. Please say Pacific Ocean.
Okay, Julia was recorded on March 1st, 1999. It says the sound was most likely a large iceberg. It lasts for 15 seconds.
You're going to say the Atlantic, aren't you?
It's in the Pacific. Equatorial Pacific.
The Mariana Trench.
Which I don't understand what an iceberg is doing near the equator, but... Conspiracy!
Okay, people, if you live near the water, listen to Sheriff Brody. Get the hell out of the water. You don't belong in the water. There's always a bigger fish. There's big sharks. They will eat you.
So I'm gonna go ahead.
You're concerning my dog Charlie.
He's snoring.
Was,
I'm gonna go ahead and give you the point for that one.
That was monstrous. Okay, so all right, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing. The ocean is hardly ever explored.
Right. We know more about the moon than we do the oceans.
So, excuse me. What if, that was something that, one, is huge and
scary.
Terrifying. It's like the bloop.
It is very similar to the bloop. In fact, on this Wikipedia list that I have pulled up, it sits directly beneath the bloop. Which I wasn't going to do the bloop, because everybody does the bloop. But we got other sounds.
But was that like a sea serpent? I mean, what the hell could that have been?
Supposedly a large iceberg in the middle of the equator.
I call bold, you know what?
There's another sound called slow down. Again, this one's attributed to a large iceberg, but some people believe it's a USO. An unidentified submerged, potentially alien object.
Oh, we talked about that, some of those earlier.
This is under the Wikipedia list of formerly unidentified, meaning these are the ones that they have a theory for. There are sounds that they have.
Theories are not proven until they are proven.
I mean, gravity's still just a theory.
Yeah. Well, technically, we're all upside down anyways.
If you say so.
Well, the human eye turns things
upside down, but the brain turns it right side up again because it understands that it's not very useful to look at the world upside down.
Everything you know is wrong. Up is down and down is up. The sky is
Red and we're all dead.
For another episode.
Yeah, so what are you at? 5.5?
6?
6.5. Woo!
No, just 6.
Oh, 6.
'Cause you
Oh,
gave
the
me-
half.
because
The
you-
half.
2 halves.
2 halves make a whole, kids. That's how fractions work. He's leaving. He left. He's drinking Pepto straight out of the bottle like some kind of monster. I am astounded. He just got up and left. This is a professional production, sir.
Okay,
So we just heard Julia. Do you want to get a little weird now? We got 2 sounds left.
Okay, so... Alright, let's get a little weird.
Alright.
If we can get... If that's even possible.
We're getting weird, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't know I could do that till just now. You know that?
No, you should be death metal band.
Ow, 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 ow. Okay, next sound. What did we just listen to?
Okay, I'm not 100% sure on this.
It was loud, it was high pitched, it wasn't fun to listen to.
It had, you know, certain types of frequencies. It's patterns to go with the frequencies. Is this the wow signal?
This is the wow signal.
You know, I've never heard this until now.
Really?
I mean, I've always heard about the wow signal, but I never really...
That was the wow signal. Imagine you're listening to nothing but dead space, just dead static, white noise, and then that starts playing. And you know you have a big telescope pointed at the sky. This is coming from space.
Wow. They're calling me home.
So, here's an interesting little side trivia note, a bit of a lighter note. Let me take a drink real quick. The wow signal, to this day, is unexplained. But there were even weirder signals coming from another observatory. I don't remember where or when. I just remember that there was an observatory getting really consistent signals. Like really weird, distorted, data-like signals. And it would always happen around midday. And this went on for 20 years. They logged all of these signals, right? But do you know what they found out? After 20 years of logging these signals? These signals were produced whenever the laboratory's microwave was on.
Oh, no. Really?
Yes.
Oh, no. And it took them 20 years to figure this out?
I guess so.
What
So-
microwave... Okay, here's my question. What microwave lasts for 20 years?
I don't know. Someone with more respect for microwaves than we have. What's interesting is microwaves actually have really weird frequency properties. If you have a powerful enough microwave, it can even cut off your Wi-Fi while it's operating.
And it will cook you in the process.
No, I'm serious. There are graphs that people have compiled on the internet of their Wi-Fi strength, and it always dips and sways whenever they're using the microwave.
And you're putting that radiation in your food?
I mean, it cooks the water. We haven't been irreversibly irradiated from microwave use yet, I think. We've had them since the 1950s. I think we'd find out about now.
Well, they didn't find the dangers of smoking until years later.
I feel like they did, just Big Tobacco didn't want that information out. So, we got...
So that was the infamous wow signal.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on it?
Well...
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that was... I mean, if you... You know, I'm not a professional when it comes to radio signals, just quite yet, but still, that was something there. I mean, there was a pattern to it. Too bad no one can really understand on what it was trying to say. I mean, I was kind of hoping it would be something, you know, I was always thinking it would be something like from the movie Contact, where it had, you know, that driven sound of communication. Have you ever seen the movie Contact with Jodie Foster?
I have not.
You gotta watch it. It's kind of based on the wow signal, where someone all of a sudden gets this signal and then they were able to translate it through mathematics, and they built this. Anyways, it's like Van Helsing. Very awesome beginning, really poor, crappy ending.
Yeah, the WoW signal to this day remains nowhere close to being deciphered. We don't even know how to interpret it, even if there is an interpretable message. It could have just been radiation coming from a dying star.
But you know, the thing is that, you know, like, I think we covered this too.
No, I don't think we did.
It was Stephen Hawking on what he said. You know, I don't think we should be making communications to aliens, because we don't know if they're, like, E.T. or Starman or, like...
I mean, think about this.
Darth Vader and the Klingons.
Think about this. For the sake of argument, let's say aliens are real. Just as a argumentative presumption.
Okay.
This means that life happens elsewhere in the universe and on planet Earth.
Yes.
If this is the case, then what does planet Earth have to offer that no other planet does? If life occurs outside of Earth, then we can assume that life is somewhat common.
Incompetent, crazy human monkeys.
Maybe. Or chocolate. Chocolate. It's the one commodity we have, damn it.
Hey, don't forget about the vanilla bean.
The vanilla bean. The underappreciated vanilla bean. Did you know over 250 compounds are used to compose the flavor of a vanilla bean? It's an extremely complex flavor, and yet we use vanilla as a term to describe boring or mundane.
I like vanilla.
Vanilla is criminally underappreciated.
Very. Okay, so you have another sound for me.
We have one last sound to go through.
So is this the last hurrah? The as my brother said, the crumble of creme or whatever it is.
Cramble of creme. This very well could be. Now, I'm going to give you no context.
Giving to the status is the last one.
Yes.
Okay. So I got 7 out of 10.
7 out of 12.
7 out of 12.
Yeah, we're at 12, I think.
Oh.
You could get 8 out of 12.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Which is a passing grade.
Yeah, I barely pass. What else is new?
All right, no context for this last one. It's pretty short, but it gets to the point.
All right, let's do it. Okay, I ain't fuck.
Oh, it's too late. That was.
I ain't gonna use that podcast. Or God dang it! I'm so flustered. I'm not gonna use that freaking app no more. I'm done. I'm done.
He has a sleep app that records his sleep, which is exactly what this sound was recorded on. It's known as the Chicago Scream. It's believed to be an EVP of some kind.
Now, I don't know if this is real, but if it is, I mean, I'm just devil advocate, okay?
Okay.
If this is real, this is something that this goes right up to your experience with the ghost box up at the cemetery. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, because we live in a haunted house. Everyone knows this house is haunted.
Turn the phone! The phone!
Sorry. So, everybody knows that we live in a haunted house.
Right.
Everybody knows it.
Right.
It's a given.
Right.
When I started using the app, I have gotten EVPs out of this thing.
Right.
That's
why the phone was on. He was going to show me one.
I'm hoping that this will be loud enough. Vanessa thinks this was Havoc, but this was recorded the other night.
Okay. What time?
It's time stamped. I will show you here soon. But it's time stamped.
He's looking for it.
See, right here.
Okay.
Has Ghost maybe on it. This was recorded yesterday. One day ago.
Okay, what time though?
At 10:35.
It very well could have been Havoc.
When I took when I took my meds, I'm out.
Right.
I do that for a reason.
Uh-huh.
And
all right, it's playing right now.
Right there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to make out. I don't know if the mic will pick that up. That does sound like laughing, but that also does sound like Havoc's laugh.
It goes ha 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 or la 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 la.
That does sound like Havoc's laugh though when he's watching.
But I'm getting goosebumps because the first time I used this, I can't save the can't save it to a certain point. But when I first got the app, I heard "Wake Up, Kevin," and it was right before my my alarm went off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want drugs when I go to bed. I want to sleep well. Why do you keep looking over my shoulder? You're not creeping me out.
I'm not. I heard a bug tapping at the window. We get big maws and they like to ram themselves into the window.
Are you sure it's not Samantha? I mean, look at this. I got goosebumps. But seriously, it was like Kevin. It was like, "Wake up, Kevin," or it was something like that. And I played it to Vanessa, and she's like, she was like, "Delete the blink thing right now." I'm like, well, everybody knows that we live in a haunted house.
Yeah.
And one of these days, but the previous recording that we heard from Chicago,
the Chicago Scream,
that was, I mean, what the? I mean, did the guy stop using it? Did he move?
I don't know.
Did he like try to clean his house or that's like.
What if it just turned out to be like really like drag racing and it just echoed really weird?
That's I mean, that is possible. Yes, that's definitely possible. But it's still creepy as. I mean, we've heard some really spooky EVPs.
Right.
Spooky.
Right.
But that's like, you're asleep. You're the most vulnerable at that point. I mean, why do you think I sleep with two dogs when Vanessa's not here? I'm sorry. I tried to convince Lucy to sleep in the bed. Charlie, with Charlie, if he's the alert dog. He'll growl and bark. Whatever, Ugh.
So what are you gonna do when he does start growling and barking? What's your plan then?
Hopefully, I'm too out to care.
And if you're not,
Then I'm moving up to the couch.
come hang out with me because we both know I'm nocturnal.
Kain, can I come sleep in your room?
Dad, no.
I'm too old to cuddle. Well, fine. I'm gonna go sleep with Arthas and Havoc. I sleep with a fan and an AC. I do all of this. And it's to help me rewind and relax and drown out any type of noise that pops or cracks or knocks or footsteps or kids or teenager.
Hi.
But no, I think that's why it's so spooky.
Is that your tipping point?
Because you're asleep and you're the most vulnerable, and this thing is screaming at you.
The supernatural doesn't stop when you stop.
Exactly.
Well, you're in luck. You are at 8, and you're what, 8 points?
8 points.
8 points out of 12. That is the last sound you have to hear tonight. You have no idea how many times I had to listen to these.
Speaking of recordings and spooky sounds, I got one last one. All right.
Okay.
When you were just an itty bitty bitty baby.
Oh. There's even darker ages.
When I was married to your mother. It was right when we were doing the separation.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the divorce, it was the separation. And at that time, I started doing my ghost hunting.
He's yawning. He wants to record another episode tonight.
So anyways, we were in the Acme power plant.
Right.
And I was talking about, the separation and, where, Shauna was, she was going to live with her mom for a little while until she got her feet underneath of her, and I was going to live with my brother. And at that time, I heard, the baby is staying. You were only 6 months at that time.
Where did you hear this?
In the Acme power plant. And it was a female's voice.
Really? And you recorded it?
Yes. I have it on one of my seminar DVDs.
I was about to ask if the recording survived.
Yes.
I got to take a look at the power plant. I never got to go inside of it because the building is now well condemned.
Yes, asbestos. They took out the generators out of the floor for copper and all of this, but yeah, that place. Oh.
It's a spooky place.
We always give ghost hunting tips. And, well, I guess we really haven't given one
since episode 1.
So here's a tip. When you know that you're going to a location to do an investigation, scout it out before. Make sure it's safe for you to go in.
Mm-hmm.
I think we kind of talked about this before, but if anybody would go into that stinking power plant now, they would just fall through one of the big holes and go 2 stories down into the sub-basements.
Yeah, for whatever reason, spooks like to live in dark, derelict places, and even without the presence of spooks, you still have to face the dangers of dark, derelict locations.
Yes. So always let someone else who is not going with you know where you're going.
Also, let somebody else go in front.
There's always going to be someone that has to go in front.
Uh-huh. Pray it's never you.
And a lot of time it was me.
You poor fool.
Yeah. Well, I guess this sums it up for this episode.
You win 8 out of 12 points.
Yay! What do I win?
you get this bowl of half-eaten macaroni.
Yum.
I don't know how long it's been there. It's on your desk, buddy. It's your responsibility.
I'll pass. My reward has ranch in it.
It is one congealed piece.
So your homework class is to download the Sleep app
And
see what you can come up with.
that sound wave looks like a swordfish.
Let us know in the comments on what you find, or if you have a spooky story to go with, and hit the subscribe button, people.
Please. Oh, comment too. Comment.
Yeah.
Seriously, this is a viewer-driven show. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, send them in, and if you have something interesting to say, if you have a story or a question, we will feature you on this episode.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be listening to this stuff, at least subscribe to us so you can stay current.
We upload weekly, and we are going to continue uploading weekly as long as it is sustainable.
We're going to be more of a Mad Bull at a Matador. I butchered that. Anyways, we're coming full force here, people. Subscribe. It really helps us out. It'll help you out. We got more interesting topics coming up. Hit that notification bell. I hate to say all this. I was hoping to have it generally naturally, but, leave a like button.
Leave a like button. Just add a new like button and leave it there for us.
Smash that thing and leave us a comment.
Punch through your monitor.
Let us know what you guys think, because this is your guys' show. This is
the show for you.
You're the boss. We said that since episode 1. And we do listen to you. But you got to subscribe, because 70% of you are listening to this and not subscribed. It really helps us out.
I think they get the point.
I got to send this boy to college, and I don't work. So this is it. So
this is my college money, please.
Yes, this is Kane's college money. And he needs money because I'm broke. I don't work.
A smart boy, I promise.
He is. He's pretty smart. This kid has been cracking out, ideas of theories and stuff like that about the paranormal since he was 6.
They turned out to be incredulously false.
Not all of them. Some of them were pretty.
I don't know if I used the word incredulously correctly. I hope I did. I think I did. But I don't know. I could just be using big words here.
The little kid that could. Anyways, this is Kevin.
This is Kain.
And we appreciate you listening. And thank you again for those who do listen. We appreciate every single one of you. We do love you. Thank you for listening to us. And until next time, this is Nature's Darkest.
Have a good night.
Sleep well.
I hit the macaroni.